Hi guys, Alon Sage from Coils Boutique here again, and this is a Gibson 61 reissue. It's beautiful guitar, we really love it, and it has this Korean nut. Today I'm gonna explain to you and show you how to replace this to a bow nut. I'm gonna make it from scratch. It's gonna be really cool. This is the material known as bone. I don't know which bone is it. It might be human, it might be a chimpanzee. I have absolutely no idea, but I hope this is from cow. Start by de-stringing the guitar. Remove the strings to the side, like so. Now we need to remove this nut from here. It is glued really tight, so I'll show you a trick to remove this part. I'll be using this scalpel to cut through the lacquer very gently. And if we don't do that, we might chip other areas, like here or maybe here. So we want to make this small cut here, like so. And I'll do the same on the other side. Cool. I'll be using this block. This is a radius block by Stuart McDonald's, and I'll tap it from this end and watch if it's starting to move. Look very closely. You can see it's starting to separate from the guitar, which is awesome. And on the other side, again, I'm rocking it back and forth. Behold, the Korean nut is out. I'll be using this chisel to clean up all the excess glue which is still stuck on the fretboard. The importance of it is to make sure the nut sits perfectly on its 0 point. If the nut is not fitted correctly on the guitar, it might cause the guitar to be very out of tune. So this is clean now, and I need to use this Stuart McDonald tool to flatten everything, and any chip that might be a concern when fitting the new nut. Nice. As you can see, this doesn't fit. You need to make this bone fit. So I'll use a very sharp pencil and mark the edges like so. I'll start by sanding this piece till I reach the measurement. The length is almost perfect. Now I need to sand off the width. Of course, this can be measured, but I like to do it by feel, and eventually you'll see it sits perfectly. When working with bone, it's highly recommended to use a highly ventilated area. Almost. Behold! The nut is in its place. That's really cool. As you can see, this is very, very high, and I really don't need all this excess height here. So just mark something that is reasonable, which is way more than what we would need for a nut. And I will mark the sides here for more accuracy, for correct fitting. This is starting to look like a guitar nut. Just a tiny adjustment, and from the sides it feels absolutely remarkable, and it's a good height. Awesome. Just a little bit of CA glue. Just a tiny amount. And now we wait a few seconds. That's it. What I'll do is I'll tune the E, the low E and the high E strings. They just need to be in tension. It will help me place them correctly. Now, what I'm seeing here is I'm trying to look from above and look at this space from the edge of the fretboard and find a nice position so the string is not too much on the outside and not too much on the inside, like so. So I'll find a really nice, comfortable place for the string, and I will use a very, very, very sharp pencil to mark the placing of the E string. I'll remove it and use a really fine X-Acto saw just to mark the place, like so. I'll do the same for the bass string. Mark both its sides, remove it, and we'll saw in between those two lines. This is just as a marker. I'll check to see that everything is right, and it feels very, very nice to me. As you can see, strings are really well centered. I'll use the pencil to darken these two lines over here. I have this remarkable tool by Stuart McDonald, the string spacing rule. I'm going to use it to measure the right spacing for this nut. Place this over the lines, so be really accurate. After it's in line, measure the placing of the strings. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strings. Using the same X-Acto, like so. And I'll deepen the slots a little bit. It's very important to saw it straight down and try not to saw this way or that way, but completely straight down. Now I have my string markings, and it's time to mask the fretboard and place the strings onto the slots. I have these files here, and I'll start gradually deepening and widening these slots over here. Guitar really doesn't have to be completely in tune, just in some tension. I'll start with the thinnest file, and gradually work my way to a thicker and thicker file. Now I have the right width, but not the right depth. So we'll start working on the depth right now, and I will show you exactly how you know that you have the right depth. So this is a side view of a fretboard. Of course, it's very much enlarged compared to the real deal. Well, I have this dashed line here, and I have this straight line over here. Now, the concept of a nut is that it's exactly fret number 0. So the idea is that if a string like this line, if a string doesn't buzz when you play on, let's say, F or F sharp, and nothing buzzes, that means that these frets are very much aligned in their height, and the nut, which is actually the first fret of the guitar, the 0-point fret, could be theoretically exactly the same height as these frets. However, nuts tend to wear out, and the wear and tear of these nuts, especially the bow nuts, is quite significant. So what we want to do is place the string just a little bit higher than the optimal perfect position, and when we press on a string here, we can see that there's a small gap between the fret and the string. Let's say this is the E string. So we need this tiny gap so to allow the string to cut through the nut just a little bit, and eventually it won't buzz and it will last longer. We don't want it too high because then the action will be extremely uncomfortable, but I'll show you exactly the right height between the nut and the first fret and how to check it on the guitar. But this is the general idea. So as you can see, like in the drawing before, see the height here, the string, and we want it as low as possible. We don't want the string to touch the fret. We want it something like this, just a little bit higher. Okay? Make sure when you use the files, have a small angle over here like this. You don't want to use it just like so. To make a small angle. Well, that's awesome. You can see there's a tiny gap between the string and the fret. And that's the perfect height for us. And I'll do the same for all other strings. Of course, each string with its own width of file. Just a tiny bit more. That's great. Now for the G string. Still a little bit too high. Make it a little bit lower. That's amazing. And the last one is the E string. Just a tiny bit more. This is actually pretty perfect. Now onto the finishing process. I'll unwind the strings again. It's very important to note that the strings were completely to pitch before we worked on the heights. It's very important. And what we have to do now is to eliminate all the top of the nut, because the slots here are very deep and we really don't want that. So now I'll sand the top of the nut till I have really nice, low and pretty slots instead of very deep ones. Okay, this is a block with some sanding paper on it. It's 120 grit. Now, if you bring the camera over here, and you can see that the slots are not as deep anymore. And we really like it. Now let's finish everything. We don't want these pointy areas to hurt us when we play. Using 120 grit, sanding all the pointy bits. Now I'll sand everything with this Indasa fine sanding sponge, making sure everything is neat and rounded and pretty, and tune the guitar to the correct pitch. And we have ourselves a new, perfect and beautiful bone nut for this Gibson SG. And this is the end of this video, and you also can be an expert in making your own bone nut for your SGs. Subscribe, like, share, and go to our website to see all our products. All the best, guys.